So failing successfully means I learn, well, it means primarily I learn from my failures. I own it and I learn from it. And I don't get flooded, or I move past the point of being flooded by strong emotions of shame, embarrassment. To be clear, all of us, we're all high achievers. When, I'm including, or I'm sure most of your listeners, all of your listeners are high achievers. Let's be real. When we fail, when we make mistakes, especially when we make it publicly, we often get flooded with these strong emotions, shame, embarrassment, versus guilt. And so that then makes us hide or sort of ignore those failures or, or sweep them under the carpet. So failing successfully means learning. I failed so many times in my life, in my career. I got laid off because I didn't know I was fired actually because I didn't know when to keep my mouth shut, for example. So that was, yeah, look.
Sounds like there's a story behind there.
Well, I'll tell you the story. So I actually, it's sort of, now it's a funny story. So I told you I've been an executive coach for a long time. A client hired me and made me an offer and I couldn't refuse. So I went in-house for an investment advising firm. The same firm I'm still a client with, by the way, to this day. And this was during the financial crisis or just before the financial crisis. I got hired. Then the financial crisis hit. Revenue tanked because we're paid for percentage of assets under management. Cost cutting. We went through 2-3 rounds of layoffs, and the 3 C-level executives brought me in the room. I was the director of marketing and asked me for my views on what else we can cut. And so we went through every line item on the P&L, and then I knew nothing better to say that, well, for a firm of our size, we shouldn't really have 3 C-level executives. I think one would be enough. It did not prove to be a career-enhancing move.
No matter how truthful it was.
Exactly. And so because I'm so humble, right, in time, so then I was let go. And the lesson, the bigger lesson, and this comes back to failing successfully. So I was let go. I was not happy. My pride was hurt. I actually really liked the job despite the difficult environment. And nobody, frankly, likes to be laid off or fired for whatever reason. Let's be real. But it taught me this very simple lesson. As a coach, sometimes my strength is to speak what nobody else is willing or able to say, right? Sort of the elephant in the room. So that's often the value we bring in as external consultants. But sometimes I have to learn to shut up, and that was not always my strength. So that was a big one for me, really being more thoughtful around how to say it and when to say it. So that's a failing successfully.